my candle, it says, in her, she found magic. In magic, she found herself. I'm going to do this right now because I got to clear it. Okay, so right now I'm clearing this space. I had to clear it because right now I have a lot of anxiety. Hi everyone, I am Kara, aka Spirit Mother, and I'd like to welcome you on back to the channel. On YouTube, Spirit Teaches the Born with Himself. On TikTok, 1974 and Light Soul, and I'm also live on Facebook, the YouTube channel. I always recommend, suggest, and encourage you to do this on my YouTube channel to get a better understanding of this. Right now, my vlog, my timer says 144. Uy, sí, te amo, it's like that just cleared because some know that I talk through a whole bunch of different things, like experiences. Right now, I'm talking a lot about the wildfires. So today, it's about the wildfires in Houston and the premieres in Canada. Okay, I'm going to ruffle some feathers, and you hear a lot of people. Like you hear some people, a guy on TikTok who was referring to the Charter of Rights and freedoms and rights and what have you. And I actually happen to have the criminal code right here with it in here. He said in here that it has nothing in here about like people being able to go for a walk in the woods. Yeah, I have his video here. See, the thing is, it says in the section 7 of legal rights in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it says life, liberty, and security of person. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person, and the right not to be deprived thereof, except in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice. Okay, look at that. Okay, see, liberty is, moving freely. Okay, but then when you come down to treatment and punishment, section 12 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which, I don't see people saying about that because, Tim Houston has this, I know I just delved right into it. Tim Houston, he's got the ban, the hiking ban. People say, well, you can still go to the beach, you can go to the lake. Do you realize how many people's going to be packed at a fucking beach and those people just going to be in the woods alone? Okay. Now, I know there's one like Dollar Lake. Okay. You have to go like 3 kilometers or something like that back in the woods to get to the lake. That's okay. It's provincial. Like what? Like is money you have. Okay. You're in the woods. Literally in the fucking woods. It's common sense. Now, the saying about today was actually the last time I was out walking on the train track. Now, yeah, they know where I live. And they know who I am. Treatment or punishment, section 12 of the Canada Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So under legal rights, here, let me get it. Have a can for yourself, right? It's in this, but people say, oh, but that's now. Okay, so let's go with this treatment or punishment. Okay, right now, if you go in the woods you get fined $25,000 to $30,000 plus your taxes, right? And in some cases, they're saying about 6 months in prison or jail or what have you, right? People are talking about the fire in Halifax, is it Bears Lake? And they're saying about how intense it is. But see, the thing is, my question is, how the fuck did a trash compactor fire get out of control like that? But you don't think about William. So treatment or punishment. So $25,000 to $30,000 plus tax and 6 months in prison. And it goes against you, like, if you got a driver's license, the fines probably go against you and everything like that. It's all, and people say it's not about control, it's safety. Is it really? Or are they fucking cleared up the money because they ran out of money because of all of the pay raises they refused? I'm not going to be fucking sugarcoating it for you. It doesn't matter if you fucking agree with me or not. Do you know what common sense is? Do you know how to read? Because I'm pretty sure that you're all fucking smarter than what you give yourself credit for, because you're too busy listening to goddamn fucking matrix system that says you gotta like shit when they say shit. And if you're shit when they say you can't shit, then you're gonna get fined for shitting. Now, treatment or punishment. Everyone has the right not to be subjected to any cruel and unusual treatment or punishment. Well, let's see, $25,000 to $30,000 fines. 6 months in jail. That's cruel, and that's unusual punishment, considering everything else I covered. Seriously, why aren't people thinking about this? And to my cousins and other people that I know, saying about people bitching about this. How about you go fuck off in a corner somewhere and blow the hell up yourself? What are they paying you? Seriously. Dangle the money and the puppets will line up. Like Tim Houston. You're opening different mines back up to do uranium and all that stuff. And you want to use those machineries, which actually is what sparks off the most. But everybody else is supposed to stay out of the woods from walking. And people say that's not control. That is. It's climate lockdown. And people say, no, it's not. No. Have you ever heard of weather manipulation? People say, oh, but that's conspiracy. That's not real. Weather manipulation is not real. Really? Are you sure about that? Let's just have a gander, okay? Because right here, okay, we have here Weather Modification Information Act. Okay. Look it up yourself. It's a government website. Or you can tell me that's wrong. It's Government of Canada Justice Law's website. Okay. Short title. The Act may be cited as the Weather Modification Information Act. Interpretation. In this Act, administrators use such member of the public service as may be designated by a governor and council. Okay, so I'm going through this before, so certain things. It's going to say certain things, and see, I'm seeing things from both sides. I can see where people would be freaked out because of fire, because homes, people's homes are there, people's lives are there, but most of the fires are caused from arson deliberately. But you'll say, no, it's from people walking in the woods. You keep them safe. Let's see. Because I can feel people trying to shut me up. But, that's your prerogative. Okay, so in the context of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, liberty primarily refers to the freedom from state interference in fundamental personal choices and freedom from physical restraint. It compasses the right to make important life decisions without undue government control, as well as the right to be free from physical contempt. Here's a more detailed breakdown. Now I know, you give the circumstances, but it's instead of shutting everything down to a standstill, it's giving people the benefit of the doubt that they have fucking common sense and not to throw butts and not to have campfires and not to set things on fire because you want to see it burn. Because I'm going to say it again. How the fuck did a trash compactor fire get out of control and start burning Halifax? Seriously. I know I'm just fine. Are you okay? Or are you still wrapped up in a matrix? This aspect of liberty is most often associated with imprisonment, arrest, and other forms of physical detention. They're saying about throwing you in jail for 6 months. Do you know they make up laws as they go? And people can laugh when somebody says about the night matrix. You must be part of it, and you must be a bot. Laws that could lead to imprisonment or physical restraint by the state are closely examined under the lens of liberty. Examples include laws related to mandatory fingerprinting or regulations prohibiting loitering. Should we be hanging around like this? Okay. Ethical practical concerns. The scientific community debates the extent to which weather modification techniques are consistent with. Oh shit. Huh. I got that one in there. Where'd that go? Oh, okay. According to now. Okay. Regulations and oversight. Canada's that's the weather modification. Well, weather manipulation. Okay. Do you know the ones that you want to throw shit at me? Do you think I was born yesterday? Because I can feel what you're throwing at me. My channel's spirit to spirit. I go by spirit. So as far as am I okay? I'm just great. Weather modification activity includes any action designed or intended to produce by physical or chemical means changes in the composition or dynamics of the atmosphere for the purpose of increasing, decreasing, or distributing preparations. decreasing or suppressing or lightning or dissipating fog or cloud. This is, go read the Weather Modification Information Act. Administration to be informed. Where any person causes engaged in weather modification activities in Canada, that person shall, in such form and manner as may be prescribed, submit to the administrator such information as may be prescribed respecting that person and the weather modification activities in which it is proposed to engage. Why the fuck? If they're doing weather modification, what do you think's happening here? Do you think it's a coincidence? Because there's no coincidences, just synchronicities. Just synchronicities. And people who are hooked in the system, you look at me and think I'm a raging lunatic. No. You're the one in denial. Because deep down in your heart of hearts, you know that something's not right. Before commencing any weather modification activity, the person possesses to carry out the activity shall inform the administrator of the date and time when the place where the activity is going to be carried out. Well, hey, is that why Tim Houston put this in place? Because they're going to fuck you over? Weather modification. But, I don't know nothing because I don't know how to fucking read. Well, obviously, I do know how to read. And I do know how to look in. So seriously, ask yourself that. It was the same as COVID. Who's going to sit back and obey? Put your cigarettes out. Don't flick them. Better yet, don't smoke in the fucking woods if you're walking in there. That's called common sense. People will scream about common sense, but then you'll say that everybody else should conform. Because you figure, oh, just do it and they'll let us know. Here's the strings. I'm not mocking you. I'm saying it don't make fucking sense. You won't even go by the Charter of Rights because you see it on your TV that says that it gives them the right to do this. Here it is here. Regulations and oversight. Canada's Weather Modification Information Act requires reporting of weather modification activities to the federal government according to the Department of Justice, Canada. I was starting to read that. The United Nations Convention on the prohibition. I can't pronounce that word. Prohibition of military or any other hostile use of environmental modification techniques. ENMOD prohibits using environmental modification techniques to cause widespread, long-lasting, or severe destruction, damage, or injury. And that's what they're doing now, jackasses. You're a raging lunatic. No, spirit isn't spirit. I'm pissed off. I didn't learn these languages anywhere, so you want to mock me, you might want to know to do that. Oh, okay. So here we go. I know I got it backwards. It's like I'm going from this way when I need to be going that way. In the contents of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, okay, primary, physical, I read that. Number 2, freedom to make fundamental personal choices. This aspect protects individuals' autonomy and the right to make decisions about one's life, such as marriage, family, and other significant life choices. The government cannot unduly interfere with these personal choices. This includes the right to make decisions about one's body and reproductive choices. Not absolute freedom. Liberty is not an absolute freedom to do whatever one pleases. Okay? And I understand that. Like I said, we're going to go through this together. And we're going to communicate it through. I may not read your stuff there, but I will get your thoughts. The state can impose reasonable limits on individual freedom for the common good. What they're doing right now is not reasonable limits. It's not. And anyone who thinks it is, it's not me who needs my head checked. And it's not me who needs to grow up. However, any limitations on liberty must be justified under Section 1 of the Charter. Reasonable limits prescribed by law. So Section 1 of the Charter. Here's Section 1 of the Charter. So let's read Section 1 of the Charter, guaranteeing rights and freedoms. Rights and freedoms in Canada, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees rights and freedoms set out is subject only to such reasonable limits prescribed by law as can discriminatorily justify in a free and democratic society. Fundamental freedoms. Fundamental freedoms, everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedom of conscience and religion, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication. You know, you say they're censoring you on here because you're bringing things forward. Well, the only reason why they're censoring you is because they know that what you say, it makes people think. At least it should. Because right now they're using abuse of authority, abuse of power. Freedom of peaceful assembly and freedom of association. But see, if somebody said, well, it doesn't say the freedom to go in the woods. My question is, do you actually hear yourself? Because that falls under treatment or punishment. Section 12. Everyone has the right not to be subject to any cruel or unreasonable treatment or punishment. And all this is on, usually, it's cruel. And to the ones that say, well, you can go to the beach. People who go for a walk in the woods, they don't want to be around people. But you won't you won't sit with that for a while because you've got to go with the narrative. God forbid you disobey, even if it meant saving your own fucking life. You say, oh well, people going in the woods, that's not saving anyone's life. Most fires are not people caused by people going for a walk in the woods. It showed stupidity and carelessness. Number 4, section 7 of the Charter, the accept of liberty is closely linked to Section 7 of the Charter, which protects the rights to life, liberty, and security of the person. Section 7 ensures that any deprivation of life, liberty, or security of the person must be in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice. $25,000 to $30,000 fine. And the guy that got the fine the first time, they said that they would double his fine. Who the fuck are you? Like, seriously, do you know the Charter? You're enforcing something you don't even fucking know anything about. Not being rude, but don't you have something better to do with your time than writing fines for people because they walked in the woods to go for a walk? People are screaming about human trafficking, child trafficking, children being molested by pedophiles, people being raped and killed. Seriously. Shouldn't you be investigating the government for the corruption? Shouldn't you be investigating these things instead of pounding the pavement so that you can give people a fucking fine because you want to meet your goddamn fucking quota? People are walking in the woods. What are these other people doing to enforce this? What? Hey, wait a minute. Are they not on machines? Whoa. Yeah. Where's your damn? Seriously, people. I know you're more intelligent than that. Tim Houston and the premiers who are back in Vermont. I know it's not my ass that you have your head up. But can you do me a favor? Come a little closer. Come a little closer because I got something. I have something to tell you. I need to do something for you. Come a little closer, please. You there now? Here. Excuse me, let me wipe that brown off your nose because it's getting stained. Seriously. Because that's what's going on with people. You got your head so far up the system's ass because you're afraid that you're going to get treated like a piece of shit, which you're already getting treated like a piece of shit. You're just not realizing it because you're full shit and shame at people like myself because we don't agree with this lockdown. There are people that don't like the lake. They don't like going to the lake. So because they don't like going to a lake, their summer should have left because, you people just want to say, oh, well, just shut up and take it. Doesn't that hurt yet? Seriously. Some people are, you're going to say, oh, we'll teach you a lesson. We're going to fucking beat the shit out of you. Go beat the shit out of yourself, and then you might fucking wake up and realize a few things. They're doing the same thing that they did during COVID, and then the vaccines. Next thing you know, they're going to say, oh, well, we need everybody to stay inside because it's just too much and we can't have people walking anywhere or going anywhere. So we're going to shut it all down again. What? To create more anxiety and more anger and frustration between people who want to say, why didn't you just obey what they said and we wouldn't be going through this? Well, I would have to say to you, why don't you grow a set of bald ovaries and stand up to the injustice instead of taking it up the ass? What? That's not a way to talk when you're a woman. Who says I'm in my feminine right now? In essence, liberty, as understood in the Charter, is a fundamental aspect of a free and democratic society, protecting individual autonomy and dignity, while also recognizing the need for reasonable limitations to ensure social order. See, the thing is, social order, let's sit with that for a minute, ensure social order. The only reason why it's in disorder or at disease or in dysfunctional is because of the government. They like to play their fucking roller coaster. But she'll tell people like myself, just go in the corner, shut up, and pick it up the ass. No, you like it up the ass so much, why don't you take my dose too? See, people think that I was never like, you don't, you didn't really know me. You just thought you did, right? See, the thing is, to my cousins, that two of them are the same family. You come on and tell me to grow up and get a fucking food, everything like that. You should get a food because your grandparents, they weren't hooked into the system. They didn't even fucking vote. I think that's what they voted once, and that was because they were offered something. That she'll tell us, you don't vote, you have no say. No, that's why we have the say. It's because we don't give our say up to a fucking moron, jackass, control freak who's rich as dirt and is most likely off in the fucking woods dancing around saying, God, these people are so goddamn gullible and stupid. Do I have histrionics? I'd rather be seen as having histrionics than be someone who is living in a denial. Go watch the news. I'm going to say it again. People are coming on here and saying about all the wildfires in Nova Scotia. If we have so many wildfires in Nova Scotia, why are they sending your firefighters to another province to fight their wildfires when you need them here? Do you get common sense out of that? People say, oh, well, we got to share it. But you need the manpower here. A the last two again. Do you hear yourself? In addition to wildfires, residential fires are also a common concern in Canada. Most residential fires occur between December and March, with cooking and cigarettes, candles being major contributing factors. Here's more detailed breakdown. Wildfires. Human cause. This includes activities like campfires, discarded cigarettes, equipment, modifications, etc., like vehicles and chainsaws, arson, and negligence. Lightning cause. Lightning strikes can integrate dry vegetation, especially during periods of high fire danger. Climate change. A warming climate contributes to more extreme fire weather conditions, increasing the frequency and the intensity of the wildfires. Well, I just get done like pointing out with regards to weather modification. You know, your government's saying it's okay as long as you do it through administration, but the United Nations is saying it's not. But residential fires, cooking, unattended cooking and heating cause of residential fires, especially when grease or high temperatures are involved. Smoking materials, improper extinguishing cigarettes and other smoking materials can easily ignite nearby combustibles. Now, I had a cousin comment on my video and say about people flicking their butts when they're a smoker. Well, my advice to you is stop flicking your butts. And my question is, why are you? But you'll tell me to fucking grow up? You got some nerve. I don't smoke, thank you very much. I haven't smoked since 2008. And when I used to smoke marijuana, I put my butts out. I didn't flip it. Yes, stupidly. But I was in a bunch of rocks. But hey, common sense tells you don't smoke in the woods. People use that excuse. Well, people smoke in the woods. Well, you shouldn't. Whether it's dry weather or not dry weather, you should not smoke in the woods. Candles in open flames, leaving candles unattended, or using them near flammable materials can be hazardous. Well, common sense tells you that. You know, some people even leave their fucking curling irons on. Electrical issues, faulty wiring, overload circuits, and malfunctioning appliances, and can spark fires. Heating equipment. Improperly installed and maintained heating equipment, such as furnaces, fireplaces, can also cause fires. You know, if you have a wood stove in your house, you have to have it a certain code, or your insurance company won't cover you. It's called common sense. do I agree with the cost of the insurance? Well, for all the money that they made, and like people are in some places where they can't get flood insurance. People went through that where when they had floods here a few years ago, they couldn't get their house insured. They wouldn't cover it. There's no reason for these fires to be getting out of control the way they do. Considering we're in 2025 and we don't have the fucking technology so it's set to be able to extinguish a fire. Who's really setting fires? Because it's not people walking in the woods going for a hike because they want to get away from everything. So Tim Houston and premiers who are jumping on the bandwagon. No, there shouldn't be machinery going in the woods. But there's nothing wrong with somebody walking as a hike. Machinery produces a lot of heat, and they spark it up. So the corporations, yes, they should be shut down, but people just going in and going for a walk. You say you don't want cameras anywhere because it's against your privacy. That's a right and freedom, right? So how is that any different than the person that wants to go hiking in the woods? What? Because it's something that you want for yourself? That is selfish, isn't it? Except for I don't care if you like me because no, I'm like people are still gonna throw shit and shade at me. What was that comment? I don't know, I'm kind of embarrassed. When I did a video, this person who hikes all the time and goes into the woods. Everyone is a hiker now. Go hike at the beach. The beach is packed. Where are you gonna fucking walk? And not allowed any trails. Go hike the beach. This is going way too far, everyone. So much arguing and complaining. This has nothing to do with complaining. And they're arguing because of people like you that are telling people, just suck it up. Just delete me. I've been walking in the woods for 5 years now. I've seen you walking in the woods a lot. Not everyone likes walking on the beach. Most beaches are full right now, and it's not the same. This person wrote back to me, deal with it. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Christ! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. People need to get a life. People are trying to have a life, but they're being told that they can't have one. But I said I am nothing. Fuck, do you hear yourself? People are allowed to, I know people are allowed to express their opinion. Maybe they see or know something you don't. You don't have to watch my stuff or agree with me, nor do I have to with you. So maybe you need to get over it and do a bit of research yourself instead of telling people to deal with it and they need to get a life because they don't agree with it. And to that comment, they thought it was funny. But are you a problem? To be honest, that's something a narcissist would do to gaslight someone. And these same people will try and say you're spiritual because you don't even know what spiritual means. Because spiritual is something who's connected directly to spirit. So we read that the government, thinks it's okay to do weather modification as long as you do it through the registration. The United Nations says it's wrong because this is where the people climate change. You have the volcanoes, but a lot of it's frequency and you have the weather modification. Cloud seeding, putting chemicals in the sky, and the same people, that report state on me right now, once they, at one time they said chemicals in the sky. They said about the weather modification. What did you do with $2 for such an out? Before commencing any weather modification activity, the person possessing proposing to carry out the activity shall inform the ministry in writing of the date and time when and the place and where the activity is going to be carried out, which maybe that's what's taking place in Halifax right now, or all throughout Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and all the provinces. Newfoundland, Newfoundland, Florida, it's the Atlantic provinces. What? You want the fucking land because we're full of minerals? We got abundance and you want it? Que la tu publicidad. No, I shit my life. This is a spirit to spirit. And you people take offense because these spirits know exactly who I'm talking to. So if you're feeling it, then I guess you're feeling it. The names and addresses of the persons by and for whom the activity is being carried out. Did you catch that? Oh my God. You got lightning, go man, lightning strikes, or is it a fucking laser beam? Isso queria porque tu queria tudo isso, não, mãe? People are screaming, Jesus is coming back. Well, yes, Jesus is coming back for every fucking one of the ones that are speaking up and saying about the injustice. They're the ones flipping the fucking tables while you're standing there saying, oh, just shut up so we can move on. The purpose of the activity, the equipment, materials, and methods to be used, and the geographic area that may be affected. It's much like your wars. You know, they send your military people off to another country and leave you defenseless. My channel's not for everyone. You like me, hate me, love me, loathe me. Make you laugh and make you cry and fucking piss you off and you want to fucking punch my head in sometimes. But you know, if that feeling and that thought and wanting to do that gets you through every fucking day because you want to live in denial, you always come up with it. But keep the fucking news to yourself. Let's do it energetic. Today. Если кто-то это голоса. Am I scary? Yeah, you're supposed to scream it here, yeah? Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, who the fuck is she? I don't know, why don't you fucking figure that out? I mean, you're so brilliant. That's not being rude either. You're just coming in to throw shade on me because I did something to you, but you don't want to look at it because it may stir up things. Records and reports. Requirement to maintain daily records and submit reports. So, ain't anybody looking at that yet? I didn't come here to debate you. In the Act 4, number 4.1, every person who carries out any weather modification activity shall, in such form and manner as may be prescribed. A. Maintain a daily record of the activity, in which shall be included detailed information relating to 1. The location and operation of any equipment used. Number 2. Any meteorological observations made. Maybe I didn't pronounce it right. Go look into it yourself instead of figuring that somebody else should do it for you. Observation made in the geographic area affected or intended to be affected by the activity. And number 3, the chemical nature, physical properties and qualities of any substances emitted into the atmosphere for the purpose of weather modification, and B, within 15 days from the end of the month in which the activity was carried out, submit to the administrator a report specifying, number 1, the date when the activity was carried out, number 2, the nature and scope of the activity, number 3, any meteorological observations that were made, and 4, such other information, observations relevant to the activity as may be specific by the administrator or an authorized representative of the administrator. How do I know? Well, I know one thing. I know how to fucking read and research. Felicita mo to na. Wala ay ito ay. Felicita. And if you think I don't know how I look, I'm looking right at myself. Availability of records. 2. A person who has custody of a record referred to in paragraph 1A shall, at such reasonable times as may be specified by the administrator or an authorized representative of the administrator, make that record available for inspection by the administrator or the representative. Fucking sell it! Run! Voice the DA! My channel's not for everyone. From spirit to spirit, teachings of going within self. Disclosure. Disclosure of information. Number 5. Any information obtained by the administrator or an authorized representative of the administrator pursuant to this act may be made public or made available on request to any member of the public. Go get it! What is it? Hang on, everyone, because you're about to go for one nasty fucking ride for a little bit. That's when you get right with God. Because you're getting right with yourself. Regulations. The governor and council may make regulations prescribing any matter or thing that by this act may be prescribed. Offense and punishment. Offense and punishment. 7.1. Any person who fails to comply with any provision of this act is guilty of an offense and liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $1,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months or to both. And they're talking about giving you a fucking $25,000 to $30,000 fucking fine and 6 months in jail for walking in the goddamn fucking woods. Get a clue! You take that as an insult, well, maybe you shouldn't take it as an insult, but as a little bit of wake up and smell the cappuccino or the fucking coffee, whichever you drink. Here's a little bit of tea for you. It's okay to do that verification, but by fuck, you can't stop one fucking because we'll fucking fine you $25,000, $30,000, and we'll put you in jail for 6 months. But anyone who does the weather manipulation, well, all they get is no fine exceeding $1,000 and or 6 months. Do you not get it? Because it's not you doing the weather manipulation. Who do you think is doing the weather manipulation? Who's in control of your fucking food? Who's in control of your fucking water? I heard somebody say that, like, whether it's true or not, that you weren't even allowed to water your fucking bushes anymore. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But if it is true, like, do you not get it? You're taking your fucking water from you. You'll shut your water off, but what if you got a fire? Just remember, in 2023, in the Hammond Plains fire, there were many retired firefighters with about 200 years experience who told, no, we don't want you to come in and help us fight the fires. And now they're sending 25 to New Brunswick to fight their wildfires, but they're saying we have shit tons of wildfires here. Do you not comprehend and do you not hear yourself? I'm not being rude. I'm just saying, do you not hear yourself? Well, I'm not saying, I'm asking. But she'll look at me like I'm would you like some help getting up this really fast? I can even help you wet the brown out. Legally speaking, they're fines. Charter of rights and duties. Their fines and everything is illegal. It's cruel, it's unusual treatment and punishment because you get punished for going for that. But people think that's right. You sit in your house and fucking twiddle your thumbs or watch the program and you watch. It's not part of, they say about negotiation. You can't negotiate with your government. And in your constitution, when things are going like this, yes, you are able to allowed to work, but you do it peacefully, as peaceful as it can be. You hear some people saying that, like here in North North America, but if you look at if you actually see the true now, this would be wrong because the British Empire looked up to them and they went to France and they immigrated here from France. So was it they were just if people don't see that you're living in biblical times now, that's for sure. You may appear modern. Not really what you see. It's just as you know, because you're very religious. You're very religious. You're very religious car that gets you to the job so that you can keep it clean and heat it, pay for electricity, feed yourself, feed and clothe yourself, feed and clothe your kids. When you're stressed out, how much work can you do? Not very productive. Right? I can't tell you how to see things. I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you what to believe. Or you can absolutely. but nobody should. That's like the COVID. That's like the abortion, and a woman being kept alive to give birth to a baby, but they had to take the baby because she was born. It would say decay. Anyone that agrees with this, are you a yes sir, maybe sir, or are you ready to say it's really okay? You know, you might have to look at it too, because that's what it's like. Sometimes just the cookie in the days with the baby, you're so beautiful with the baby. Offenses and punishment. Okay, so 6 months. So $1,000 fine is 6 months. Depending. I'm laughing at how fucking right in your face it is. Officers, etc., of corporations. Where any corporation commits an offense under this act, any officer, director, or agent of the corporation who directed, authorized, assessed, ascended to, or prescribed ACQUIESCED in the commission of the offense is a party to and guilty of the offense and is liable on summary conviction to imprisonment providing by subsection 1 whether or not the corporation has been prosecuted for your what your readers are doing for sure. Not only are they doing the other she's you know, they're shooting your houses down just so they can put the fancy hotels in. Get your Georgia brothels going there, boys. And forget the girls. And I mean girls because that's what you use. See, we're in biblical times and you know, in the Bible when they say that what you submit to the husbands, what are you saying the fucking prostitutes? Because that's sure the fuck what it sounds like. They're not prostitutes. They're just fucking manipulative. Friends come in and do stuff to other women while you're entertaining because you want to give them your attention. Those spirits know who I'm talking to. So that there, what I just read, was the weather modification information. So they can modify, but if they don't follow protocol in order to do it, then you get $1,000 fine and possibly 6 months in jail. But if you go walk in the woods, you get a $25,000 to $30,000 fine plus tax and 6 months in jail. And you're not ready to flip it. I feel sorry for you. Because if you're like, you just use this for the safety. I have the state's constitution. I want the state's constitution. So, well, it's chapters are indigo. The titles. And at the back of it, you will find the Constitution of the United States. And its amendments. And other documentation that, why did I start looking into this stuff? Well, at first, I was in crystals and making, and then spirit got me into looking through deeds, my genealogy, and then everything that would come. Um, that's how you see it. Delusion is, people are wrong, others is insane matrix. Matrix is something that is continuously. Sometimes you go in a rabbit hole and then it's like you go back to this. Like you do right now with regards to all against the vaccines and talk COVID, but they don't see the perspective of the other people now. So that's why you have arguments. So the one that says about complaining, people aren't complaining. They're speaking the truth that nobody wants to face. I go on Facebook, you keep creating chaos because you do as you're told, even if it meant that you're leaving yourself to your own destruction. It's like the lockdowns that we've had this year. It was lockdown, let out, lockdown, let out, lockdown, let out. You know how fucking hard that is on the human psyche, let alone combined with the spirit. That's one massive mind fuck. You create a a psychological problem for people. You put people against one another just so you can have your fun. Could I go to the beach? You know, hey, with all due respect, you know, I don't want to be. I'd rather sit in my house and listen to fucking nature sounds on the TV or stand out in my backyard. And then I'm told I'm not even supposed to walk there because it's the fucking woods. But I'll go dance and think of it. And just make sure I have the heart to start something. You know, they say it's an illusion. Yes, it's not. You gotta look into it. So it's CBC News. You know, you get stuff, but you can't get much on the news channel. So, you know, you can look for different stuff. This was August 7th. Nova Scotia Natural Resources swamped with requests for permits to work with the groups. People told to stop using emergency hotline in order to get answers. Nova Scotia Department of Natural Resources is asking people to stop calling emergency hotline to report wildfires as they seek answers about whether or not they can continue to work in the woods. Many people were caught off guard by the province's temporary ban of all woods work without a permit on Tuesday, the 13th, mitigate the risk of sparking forest fires. So they're wanting to try and get in there, which they're believing they're a big cause of it. Anyone caught camping, hiking, fishing, or using vehicles such as ATVs in the woods could face a $25,000 fine. So you're not only are you not allowed to go hiking, but you're not allowed to go catching your food. So you're being punished. People say go walk on the road. You could, and people do it. tell me you can't catch your food. Better line up the grocery store because the weather modification your crops. But I agree with the ATVs and stuff like that. $25,000, considering they're only giving $1,000 fine for weather modification, which is destroying people's lands and crops. It's even fucking with your water sources. Mining and forestry companies have also been told to stop working and apply for permits in order to continue. So what? People should have to apply for a permit to go walk in the woods? Oh my God. Fuck that. Você tem, você nunca é. I'm just looking for something. Oh, that was the video that the person commented on. Shit. That's weird. I know I found that fires most of the time it's caused by fossil fuels. Okay, weather modification, also known as or weather manipulation, also known as weather modification, refers to the international alteration of weather conditions. This can involve various techniques with cloud seeding being the most common. So it takes water and it moves it somewhere so that they get wealthy off of constructing their vegetation, their plants, their stuff to get the monopoly. You know, some say he had a magnifying thing, some say he didn't. Cloud seeding involves introducing substances into clouds to engage precipitation or suppress hail. While weather modification has been explored for agriculture and other purposes, it also raises ethical and practical concerns because this is where it does get into the discrimination. Okay. No, no. Common techniques, cloud seeding. This involves introducing particles like silver oxide or dry ice into clouds to promote ice crystal formation and potentially increase rainfall or snowfall. So is your hail is your hail man-made? Yeah. This is spirit, this is energetic, so fucking heals yourself. Hail. While weather modification has been explored for agricultural applications, it also raises ethical aspects. Absolutely. This involves individual fog dispersal. Techniques like heating or seeding can be used to dissipate fog, improving visibility for airports and other areas. So because like go by an airport, it's foggy, they're not using it. Sometimes there's so much fog and or are they using it in reverse and creating it opposed to taking it away? It's also dangerous, I think, right? It's real mindful because you can barely see in front of you. So tell me, how is this weather manipulation helping the people again? I don't see helping the people. I see big business corporations. That's what I'm talking about. That get to go through the administrator. But hail suppression. Cloud seeding can be used to reduce the size and frequency of hailstones, potentially minimizing damage to crops and property. Well, shit. Do you see some of the hailstones that they have in Alberta? I was there one day. Holy fuck, man, that was so awesome. So what's the purpose of that? Isn't that kind of defeating the purpose because you're destroying them? And what's in it? Sulfur oxide. Whoops. Inorganic chemical component with formula Ag2O. Silver oxide is an inorganic chemical component with the formula Ag0 composed of two silver atoms and one oxide atom. It appears as a fine black or dark brown powder, and it is used in various applications, including as a white pigment and silver-based batteries. Silver oxide is an ionic component where silver loses an electron to form a positive ion, Ag, and oxygen gains electrons to form a negative, 0 to negative. Additionally, it can be hazardous if not handled properly, causing skin and irritation. Catch that? You know, people pronounce it rice and I say wicked. They can turn that into a color too, if you're not sure what it is. Except recognize means much like the same. You can go this way, you inhale it, rub it, cook with it. But you have to know. It's like, how easy is it? Because if you look back at George Washington, which I looked into George Washington before, and it just didn't make sense to me. And you know, they did twist that plot because that was his form of taking away the plot because it made it look like it was the left 60s. You know, you say, yeah, Jews, did go down the river, because a lot of ways to the same thing. Produces the food. 72,000 or 72,000 square kilometers of Canada burned, and it's 9 billion. Keep doing But one of the guys that were on the video, he said that the person should go to court and say why they shouldn't have that phone. Well, it's right there. Canada has a total area of 9,984,607 square kilometers. This includes woodland. This includes both land and water. And 9,093,570 square kilometers of land and 891,863 square kilometers of fresh water. Fresh water. Filtered water. So they're stealing from you so that you have to depend on them to give you the water. I just read that just now with you guys. So, hey. This makes Canada the second largest country in the world by total area after Putin. It's that part of you destroyed your own planet, so you want to try and invade someone else's. How about you fix your own? This is the spirit to spirit, you know. Like I said, those spirits know exactly who I'm talking to. This is when they say that it gets out there, okay? So whether people are watching, it gets to where it needs to go. The person that needs to hear it at that moment. Applications and goals. Increasing precipitation. Cloud seeding can be used in air and semi-arid regions to commit water supply for agriculture and other uses. So that's what I said before. You know, it's like we're the robbers steal from the rich to give to the poor. That's fine, but it's okay for the rich to steal from the poor to give to the rich. Reducing drought by increasing rainfall, weather modification can help mitigate the effects of drought conditions. What the fuck's going on, man? We're in drought, right? So where's rainfall making and not making it all come down in a big downpour to cause floods and everything everywhere? You fucking like asshole. Christian, isso é comunità allora. Like now there's stuff like have your tantrum for now. Psychotic knowing like oh, shit. You think oh, look at that. Non possiamo tutto mai. Hail suppression, cold seeding could help reduce the size and impact of the hailstorm. Well, didn't that just contradict itself into two different things? At one point, it said that it could create them, and in another point, it said that it could reduce them. Fog dispersal, improving visibility for transportation and other activities. How's that working out for you? Why are they not doing it? Oh wait, they're doing it, but they're just putting it in the way. Creating it. What's in that fog? I'm not saying it to make people paranoid, but you know, they're saying about what they do. Don't you think that, you know, it's time to say, hey, no, without, like, they're, you know, it's obvious. They're using it for the opposite of what it's intended to be used for. So isn't that really a willingness to cause pain and suffering and damage? Hurricane modification, While still learned to be experimental, some research explores techniques to weaken or redirect hurricanes. So why are there so many? Because they're creative. There's natural and there's creative. See, the thing is, you could be modifying it right now to be energetic because you want to, but you got to keep it clean. I know. Sit with that for a second. Can you use it to teach other people to do it? And they say it gets them stuff. Is it a war and coming in to make it bigger? Where are the pieces that do? See, that's where the people have to come together. Because if you watch the program, you can see the it's like they're doing the same thing over and over again, just using different tactics. Ethical, ethical, ethical and practical concerns. Effectiveness. The scientific community debates the extent to which weather modification techniques are consistent, effective. Consistent, effective. Okay. So it's like both sides want to use weather modification to protect it. It's like they all have the same intentions. A lot that's been suppressed here. It's like, if I sit with myself and take a feeling and you see is a world that's totally different than what you have used to. It's beyond what you see to start because you're taught how to do those things. Sounds good to me, right? So it's who's doing the weather modification right now in the administration in the Atlantic provinces because it's happening in front of them. see someone say about me going for a walk. Well, I have my limits for people that use the woods and they're not allowed to go for a walk. And it might be too peaceful. Effectiveness, scientific community, environmental impacts. There are concerns about the potential ecological consequences of introducing foreign substance into the atmosphere. So they're blaming you, but they're the ones doing it. International corporations. Weather modification activities can have impacts across borders, raising questions about international relations and cooperation. Military applications. Weather modification has been considered for military use, raising concerns about its potential for use in unintended consequences. Altering weather patterns could have unforeseen and potentially negative consequences. They're telling you that it's natural climate change when it's actually them changing the climate. See everything happening right now? There people won't believe me. You can try to like silence my tongue, but I carry the sword of Aaron. Thank you very much. Regulations and oversight. Canada's Weather Modification Information Act requires reporting of weather modification activities in the federal government, according to the Department of Justice Canada. I read that. The United Nations Convention on the Prohibition of Military or any other hostile use of environmental modification techniques, ENMOD, prohibits using environmental modification techniques to cause widespread, long-lasting, or severe destruction, damage, or injury. That falls under the international court, and that's higher than the Supreme Court. It's like, yeah, see, not disobedient to spirit, because I know that spirit will sit with you and will talk things through. So when somebody seems like they're not paying attention, just because they're staring at the space or out in their doesn't mean they're not paying attention. They're just in their own moment. It's like they're talking to somebody else, they're talking with themselves. And I know sometimes I'm better for that, but at least I can do it further. Nobody wants to see what others like, where they're seeing it, where they're seeing it from. You know, I have to ask people write about you. Same as people do that because there's two sides to everything. Circus is made, I mean, in that kind of way, like circus is made in people, but they're not. You know, some I don't really just come off my rocker, but you know, I was just, you know, I never mind. Might get angry, but that's a part of the emotion that you can do because that's the part where you're going to say we're not taking the shot with anyone. We're not here to be the punching and verbal touching bags. We're not here to get down on our knees and say, "Oh, Master, please forgive us." And I'm talking about the system. See, people really need to learn and understand what data represents. It's like you get taught to be able to use yourself and not feel like you have to follow someone. It sounds very easy. So your body will always tell you. It's trying to show you something. It's here to reinforce it. Let's go a little bit more with weather modification. Weather modification is the act of potentially manipulating or altering weather. The most common form of weather modification is cloud seeding, which increases rainfall or snowfall, usually for the purpose of increasing local water supply. Weather modification can also have a goal of preventing damaging weather, such as hail or hurricanes, from occurring or of provoking damaging weather against an enemy as a tactic of military or economic warfare like Operation Popeye. I get it. Yeah. 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 Operation Popeye, Silver Popeye, Project Control Weather Popeye, Motor Pole Intermediary Dash Compatriot was a military cloud seeding project carried out by the U.S. Air Force during the Vietnam War in 1967 to 1972. The highly classified program attempted to extend uh, monsoon, monsoon season over specific areas of Hai Chi territorial to disrupt North Vietnamese military supply by softening road surfaces and causing landslides. Quizás estiquemos de nusa como se quiera papuya y anusuko. Tikoya, the chemical weather modification program was conducted from Thailand over Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, and allegedly sponsored by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and the CIA without the authorization of the Secretary of Defense Merlin Larry, who had Cadolic CADEGOLIC ALLY, denied to Congress that a program for modification of the weather for use as a tactical weapon even existed. You know, that was Tesla's technology, was it not? Or maybe I was wrong. Because didn't they say he had a secret fucking weapon? Build up. A report titled Rainmaking in Seasia, Seasia, outlines use of lead oxide and silver, or lead iodide, or oh shit, IODIDE, and silver, same word, deployed by aircraft in a program that was developed in California at Naval Air Weapons Station, China Lake, and tested in Iguana, Guam, and Philippines, Texas, and Florida in a hurricane study program called Project Stormford. Objectives. Operation Popeye's goal was to increase rainfall in carefully selected areas to deny the Vietnamese enemy, namely military supply trucks, the use of the road by softening road surfaces, causing landslides along roadways, washing out river crossings, maintaining saturated soil conditions beyond the normal time span. The goal of the operation was to extend 2 days of rainfall by about 30 to 45 days each monsoon season. This is what, like, the 54th implementation. The 54th Weather Reconnaissance Squadron called out the operation using the slogan, Make Mud Not War, starting on March 20th, 1967, and continuing through every rainy season. March to November. This is what they're telling them they had to do with weather modifications in South Asia until 1972. Operational cloud seeding missions were flown. 3 C-130 Hercules aircraft, 2 4-4C Phantom aircraft based at Udon Thani Royal Thai Air Force Base, Thailand, flew 2 sorties per day. The aircraft were officially on weather reconnaissance missions, and the aircraft crew as part of the normal duty as generated weather report data. The crews all of the 54 weather reconnaissance shit was rotated into operation on a regular basis from June. Okay. Public revelation. Reporter Jack Anderson published a story in March 71 concerning Operation Popeye. Through his column, it was called Intermediary Compatriot. The name Operation Popeye entered the public space through a brief mention of the Pentagon Papers, and July 3rd, 72 article of the Times. Now, Discipula no Kurisi Shakai Opre. Weather warfare is used of weather modification techniques such as cloud seeding and military purposes. So, your family members go, your family members go in the military because they believe that they're there with people. Please explain to me how negative weather manipulation is helping. Okay, the history. Prior to environmental modification convention signed in Geneva in 1977, the United States used weather warfare in the Vietnam War. Operation Popeye saw the use of cloud seeding over the Ho Chi Minh Trail. It was hoped that the increased rainfall would reduce the rate of infiltration in the trail. A research paper produced for the United States Air Force, written in 1996, speculates about the future use of nanotechnology to produce artificial weather. Just yesterday or the other day, I said about the sun. And that's not artificial. Because the sun, think of what's in the core of the earth. What's in the core of the earth? Invisible. Artificial weather, clouds of microscopic computer particles all communicating with each other to form an intelligent fog that could be used for various purposes. Artificial weather technology do not currently exist, but as they are developed, the importance of their potential applications rises rapidly. But it's in the wrong hands right now because it's being used to hurt the people. There's something that's working to do for the people. But much like the movie The Matrix, you have the ones that go rogue and some think maybe I'm rogue. Well, maybe it's not that I'm rogue and I'm seeing it. The Environmental Modification Convention, ENMOD, which was signed in Geneva on May 1877, entered into force on October 5th, 78, prohibits widespread, long-lasting, or severe effects as a means of destruction, damage, or injury. In 72, the ENMOD Convention on Weather Warfare presented that this permits local, non-permanent permanent changes. The Constitutive Committee, 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 yeah, it's like committee, just like I used to say, what it is. Committee of experts established in Article BII or 1.1. I don't know what that is. That's something new. The convention stated in their understanding relating to Article 2 that any use of environmental modification where this is done as a means of destruction, damage, or injury to another state party would be prohibited. It also suggests all signatories expected to abstain from using weather modification to cause harm at any scale, stating military or other hostile use of environmental modification techniques would result or could reasonably be expected to result in widespread, long-lasting, and severe destruction, damage, or injury. However, the treaty does not directly condemn military use of weather modification when it does not directly cause harm, which it causes directly. It shouldn't be causing harm at all. It also, okay. It also suggests all signatories are expected to abstain from modifications of less than at least state and military or near hostile use of environmental modification technology, or could be responsibly expected to result in widespread unlasting destruction. However, the treaty does not condemn strictly cause harm, such as the United States use of weather modification in the Battle of Keisha and in the Vietnam War. The limitations of the treaty and its application only to signatory states allow. Like, okay, I'm just like trying to compute, allow weather warfare to continue to play a role in warfare throughout the 21st century. The United States prohibits weather modification without permission of the United States Secretary of Commerce. So now let's see. No, because we're questioning. I mean something. Yeah, I know. I just got on that because it's like, let's take a direction somewhere else. Okay. Why did I go there? Yeah, I know. Why did I go there? I don't. Hmm. Okay. Warfare like Operation Popeye, where clouds proceeded to prolong the monsoon in Vietnam. Weather modification warfare has been banned by the United Nations under the Environmental Modification Convention. So what they're doing now, it does. It falls under treason and crimes against humanity because, you figure you can't go treason on your queen or king or whoever, or whatever. But, there's treason on the people. And it's been wrong. A popular belief in Northern Europe was the shooting prevents hail, which thus caused many agricultural towns to fire cannons without ammunition. Veterans in the 7 Year War, that was in 1756 to 1763, I believe. Might have been 55, but I believe it was 56. Neopolitic Wars and the American Civil War reported the rain fell after every large battle. After three stories were collected in War and Weather, the United States Department of War in the 19th century purchased $9,000 of gunpowder and explosives to to donate them in Texas in hopes of condensing water vapor into rain. The result of the test advised by Robert Dynaforth, Dynaforth, something like that, were inconclusive. Cloud seeding experiments in the 50s, the results of which the conventional and were not widely accepted by mainstream science. I read this. Okay. In November 1954, the Thailand Royal Rainmaking Project was initiated by King Bahuma, Bahuma, no, I can't get it. Bumol, Bumidully. He discovered in many areas faced the problem of drought. Over 82% of Thai agricultural land relied on rainfall. Thai farmers were not able to grow crops for lack of water. The Royal Rainmaking Project debuted on the 20th July 69. Okay, consequences. Societal, not having adequate systems to handle weather modification may have disruptors, disastrous consequences. In the city of Judea in western Saudi Arabia was damaged by floods in 2009 that repeatedly killed more than 100 people, igniting questions of why the country doesn't have effective damage systems in place. Human. The U.S. National Library of Medicine notes that the silver iodide has no known ill effects on people, although people's hands may have remained yellow for weeks after being exposed to it. Why don't you just tell people what it is that you're using it for? I have to ask, okay, because I had an experience. I'm reading this. We're talking about journalists. It's like an intense frostbite, but magnified. Back before I died in 2019, when I was going through my shit, and I was like, my body was suffocating itself from the inside out. And at some points, I told the doctors that it felt like I felt like frostbite. And this is why I have no faith in the system, and why I say you can't have something broken if you never want it to begin. They told me that I had anxiety. I know what anxiety is. What I had was my, this is spleen, it's right over here, okay? Because they're supposed to, when you're unconscious, they're supposed to go up here, but they didn't, they went over. And that was after I had folded it in half, which I believe that the reason why I felt like I was in a panic that day because I felt an air pocket was like a little bubble, and it was down here, and it was like it come up around here, and then up and up and up, and then right up into my brain, and then it was like a pop. And they told me it was anxiety and to just breathe. And the people sitting next to me, they were confused, not with me, but with them. How is that not working? Well, excuse me one sec. Well, okay. Oh, I'm lagging. I'm lagging on TikTok. Oh, that was my phone just died and I'm lagging. So, but that's okay. Um, I guess you know if you see, it's saying that this stuff has beneficial properties for health wise. But they used to use linen in the hospital, and linen was always healing. So why do they have to put this stuff on, which irritates your skin? It's so sad, like it'll irritate your skin. But linen didn't. So it's that part of, stop making synthetic stuff. And, with regards to the fires, you know how to put them out. Seriously, they know how to put them out because it's frequency and they already have the technology. That's the part of the manipulation. So like like I said, with the fires, I can see where people are worried about machinery going in the woods and stuff like that. But as far as somebody going for a hike in the woods, don't smoke in the woods anytime. But most fires that cause like and you know, there's probably many fires that get started because somebody threw glass in the woods. See, when I walk the tracks, I'm always looking for my treasure. My treasure is my glass. All this here, all this here, and I have a bunch of old-fashioned bottles. Some of them from the 1800s, because I would go on my walks and I would pick it up along the way, and I'd bend down like a little kid and say, "Oh, treasure." And then certain colors, it was like, "Okay, thank you." Like, it was like the angels, "Thank you, guys. Thank you, Raphael." Really, it found some purpose. That's where I done a lot of movement. Because in there, you didn't have to worry about somebody thinking you were crazy because of your conversation with other parts of yourself, the spirit, the trees, just the nature. sit on the train tracks and just talk. And most of the time, we're in English. And that's where a lot of people do the best thinking. People go hiking to waterfalls. I've seen other people on TikTok who are saying, well, you know, hey, you want to have a slow, so carry a hand pocket or a pocket ashtray. They sell them and just put it out. Feel you must smoke, but you know, hey, you still have that chance to chloroform. But because of people who don't use common sense, the ones who do and go because they want to be at peace, you want to shut them down from that and tell them to live their life. It's just look out for yourself because you'd be surprised the answers you have. And someone around you goes, should I do this? I don't know. Should you? Like, when are you going to start asking somebody else to make the fucking decisions for you and do the hard shit and make them yourself? You know, I don't like coming on here looking like a raging. And why I don't is because I know that I am giving people a different perspective. And it's, so excuse me if I'm not all prim and proper all the time. Storm prevention. Project Storm Theory was an attempt to weaken tropical cyclones by flying aircraft into storms and seeding the firewall with silver medicine. You know, if you watch Once Upon a Time, you know, okay, yeah, I did use this. was it had Captain Hook and his brother, and they were on this ship, and they were headed the military or what have you, or somebody, the crew was headed, and they were to get the Eye of the Storm, which the Eye of the Storm is like it's a purple crystal. It's, I believe, it's android possibly. Maybe. I don't know, not for sure. Certain, but it was purple amethyst, to say, yep, I got amethyst because it was like really purple. I must say, see, I didn't give it away because I felt that. So in there, it was Hades, and the guy got it, and then they got in the military because they had the Eye of the Storm, and they had been looking for it because they use it as a warfare. Yeah, the project was run by the United States government from 1962 to 1983, and similar projects using stope was run in 1958 with inconclusive results. Now, it seems like everything that I'm reading about with regards to weather manipulation, it all comes back to the same place. And it's used as a warfare. Various methods have been proposed to reduce the harmful effects of hurricanes. Wakash and Mariel of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology proposed using badges with upright point jet engines to trigger smaller storms to disrupt the process of an incoming hurricane. Critics doubt the jets would be powerful enough to make any unnoticeable difference to stop the hurricanes. First off, to know how is to figure out if they're man-made or natural. Alexander Corain of the University of California, Berkeley, proposed dropping large amounts of environmentally friendly oils on the sea surface to prevent droplet formation. Well, how does that make sense? We're trying to get oil out of the oceans. Yeah, okay, I didn't. I said before I read it, proposed dropping large amounts of environment friendly oil on sea surface to prevent droplet formation. Experiments by Curie of MIT in 2002 suggested that hurricane force winds would disrupt the oil slicks, making it ineffective. Other scientists disputed the fascist basis of the theoretical mechanism assumed by this approach. Florida company Diomac and its CEO Peter proposed the use of a patent product it developed called VR gel to reduce the strength of hurricanes. like I said, you have to find out what created it. Because if you're doing cloud seeding, then you're creating. And, it's time to bring up the sound frequency because, people say that people like myself are crazy with regards to saying about sound frequency. Yes, I will. But see, it's like, okay, I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, if you have a sound frequency coming from the sky, you have a sound frequency coming from the earth, and you have a sound frequency coming from the inner earth because everything is shifting, then it's created. You have to get it balanced. So it's like sound frequency causing disruption under the earth, on the surface of the earth, and in the sky. Like, if you watch Once Upon a Time, you can create a wildfire light, and you say, "Oh, that's myth." No, you actually carry energy. Maybe some people have the eye to see the aura of that energy, but it's still an energy. It's like people can have a candle and put your hand over it like that, and you hold it there, and what happens? It begins to suffocate, right? So if you just sit with yourself, you feel it. Yeah, people don't realize what extent they will go to keep mind to, and then everyone's trying to shake it up to get it out there because the more you tell your truth, the more you shake things up, the truth actually gets seen. And this is what's happening. When you say the dead are speaking a message through you, their stories coming through you. sometimes in your body, it doesn't. And it's like it ends in harmony, like with the sun. So it's pretty. And I know that like you put it in different at first. I don't know why I just keep hearing. But you just said there was a spirit. It was like the stain there. I got the stain. Wait a minute, I'm not the one that's got the stain. I said, even though that's just fine. But is it involved with that? Or is it, you really believe in it? That's just fine. I'm sorry you're so close minded to something that might be. I'm just sitting with it for a moment. I'm not here to make you think of it's not that don't expect someone to be used to if you're not if you don't care. It's fine. And if you don't care, then don't say something about somebody you don't agree with. Even here, it's about letting people to think about this thing. So that's what I encourage others to do. Like just kind of first you gotta be able to get yourself to be able to listen. Sort through that yourself, and then you can catch yourself. say. I know it. I'm here. I'm on gloat most of the time, I read the room. See, this room may not be private, but you choose to come into my space. I said I get to be in the kitchen. Yeah, right there. What I thought was a nerve shift. Yes, I know how I look doing it. I can actually experience it too. So I guess I got the double whammy. Holy shit. No, it's never a dull day. Era todo exterior, meio suco, olhar para aí. Yeah, that's like when you do like it's when you go through, you have that intuition, you have that uh, that knowing that like it's something that was familiar. People will say and try to figure out how did I know how to do that? It's because you've done it before, you just don't remember doing it. Or it's that part of when you say your genealogy, you're seeing through their eyes, their perspective. And you close your mind to it so you don't get to see. It's not about being nosy. It's about knowing your environment. environment changes depending on how we feel. And right now, for a lot of us, it's a roller coaster, right? And I'm not talking just like the little teeny tiny ones. I'm talking the ones that go the big freaking loops and everything. And it feels like it's never ending. For some, a roller coaster can be an addiction. Until you begin to feel sick. So you say, "Well, I don't get sick of roller coasters." Yeah, you want to know times you get sick of it. You don't get sick of it, you get bored of it. Doesn't get that same feeling, so you move on to the next dish. It's like the news. For some, it's that adrenaline or excitement, or you just feel like you need to feel a certain way. Yeah, everything can feel like an addiction to let it get. So just relax. I just feel it doesn't take a lot out of me. Well, it depends. Like it's not that it takes a lot out of me, but it depends on what it is that I'm looking forward. Because a lot of people get frustrated, pissed off, and angry with me, and then mock or laugh because it's like one way or another. So it's energetic. It's like an energetic blow opposed to a punch. But it's like not part of just blocking the punch or absorbing the punch and transmuting it. Oh yeah, I can feel like I'm feeling right here in my shoulder. It's like a tightness. It's like a, yeah, it almost feels like pulled out of socket or broken. Just, I don't know, but the broken right. It's like the part where you got your Barbie dolls and you take off their arms. Oh shit! Ah, shit, that felt good. Questi chiamo te. Yeah. it didn't. Well, that was freaking off. And let me go through every else. Other one was it is. It's like when I did that, it was like I felt and I heard the crack, and it was like it just popped right back in place. He said after the ash and everything, I mean, you see it. So I'm gonna leave it there. And with that being said, just because something sounds like it's right out there, do research yourself. Get yourself a pocketbook, a pocket criminal code, and you'll have your Constitution and Charter of Rights. Que la tocaría con Facebook. With that being said, and sending all much love, that many blessings, support, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting to accept. Much love, good day, grateful, supporting, give yourself your authentic self, be true and kind to yourself, be true and kind to others, and know that you're more strength than you can confidence. When they say love and light, it doesn't mean that you submit to others to assist them. Love and light is, you love people, but you have to come to the truth because you have to face those shadows. You've got to go through the shadows to get to the light. Que ça peut durer. And much love you all. Have a great evening.